Hey, so I've definitely been shooting for quite a while, and I've come across a lot of different photography advice. Some quite a bit better than others. So in this video, I want to debunk some of those common photography tips that aren't really beneficial to you and your photography. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back. My name is Sergio and I'm a commercial photographer here in Victoria, BC. And one thing I've noticed over my 10, 12-year career is that times change. So I want to break down some of that bad advice that you see online so you can really unlock the great photographer that's inside you. And number one is that you don't need to follow the basics in order to break them later on. Do whatever you want. This is photography. There's no rules, there's no rubric in order that you have to follow. I have to know what the rule of thirds is in order to break it. I have to follow the golden ratio if I want to take a nice photo. None of that is really true. If you're being paid to be a photographer, all you need to do is please your client. It doesn't matter how good or bad that photo is. If you're a hobbyist, all you need to do is be happy when you look back at the photo. If you can do that, then it doesn't matter what rules you're following or not following. You don't have to learn how to take product photography shots in order to be a better bird photographer. You can do whatever you want, and you can follow whatever path that you feel is worth it to you, that makes you happy, that brings you joy as a photographer, and just dive deep into it. There is some overlapping skill between shooting portraits and shooting product and then shooting lifestyle and then shooting all of these different things. There is going to be some overlap and you can learn from one that apply to the other. But if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to focus in on the one single thing that you like to shoot, go right ahead. You really don't need to listen to the hype around having to shoot a certain way or having to, if you don't shoot at f8, then you're not going to have enough things in focus. Or if you shoot at high speed sync, that the flash is not as consistent. Or if you don't use a pro photo head, then the lighting colors aren't the same. Like, none of that really matters. Just shoot, be happy, and keep shooting, keep being happy. People will see the authenticity, and then they will come to you if they need you. You don't have to shoot things you don't like. Just shoot your model trains. Nobody's going to care. We don't shoot with film for the most part. Making mistakes is cheap and easy, so you have to keep making them. If you want to be a better photographer, it's not about, I can't take this photo because I don't have that piece of gear, or I don't know this, I don't know how to take pictures at night, and I don't have a tripod, so I'm going to screw it up, so I'm never even going to try. Just go outside, put your camera on a rock, use the bulb feature or use a 2-second timer and see what comes out of it. Like when it comes to composition, it just doesn't matter whether or not you're following any of these rules, any of the symmetry or the balance or any of these things that we see online as to what it is that actually takes a good photo. You just need to look at your image, and if your eye bounces around the frame, it's probably good enough. That's it. If that's enough of a good composition shot. If you look at the lighting and it's not too dark or too bright, and it's got a little bit of drama to it, and it's got some mood to it, it's got some ambiance to it, boom, it's pretty good. Don't worry about the little tiny techniques of it. Don't worry about all the little nitty gritty. Just look at the layman's point of view, look at the image as a whole, and if it's great, then move on. You don't need to hyper-focus about all the little things, just move on. Which brings us greatly into the next common piece of advice that I see everywhere, is to edit your photos at 100%. You do not need to edit images at 100% unless you are printing them for a billboard that people can walk up to and see and touch and feel. I used to think that if I edited my shots at 100%, well then when I zoom out, they're going to look great. But the thing is, if I only look at my pictures at 100, 200, 400%, and I'm zoomed into every single pixel trying to get them all to line up right, I'm not focusing on the story and the impact of the actual image. Like I said, I always like to give my images to people that aren't photographers and show them and see what they think or how they react to an image, because that tells me more than what other photographers think about it. I'm looking at the techniques of it. I'm looking at the little lighting, all the little things about it. So I want someone who doesn't know any of that to just like the image. If you don't know anything about photography and you just see a photo, do you zoom in to the armpit and are like, wow, that's perfectly retouched. This photographer must be great. No, you have to just look at the shot and be like, whoa, cool photo. If you can't do that, then it's not a good photo yet. And if you can just look at an image and it is great, then retouching, the soles of someone's feet for 2 hours is not going to make the picture any better. Once I have a big contract with a big budget, then I'm going to hire all the assistants and have all the props, and then my shoots are going to be perfect. You have to do that on the budget you currently have. If you want your pictures to be at the next level, you have to treat your current level like it's at the next level. You know the expression, like dress the way you want to, or dress for the job you want? This is kind of the same thing in photography, in that if you want your pictures to be a certain way, or if you want to book shoots at a certain level, you have to shoot at that level. And if that means that's costing you money in order to go to your photo shoots, then so be it. I've often rented assistants that costed me more than I was making on the shoot, or I do a test shoot by myself where it's actually just costing me hundreds of dollars to take a few photos rather than waiting for a client to come and making my vision fit their vision. So if you are focused on just making your images as good as they can, no matter what the budget is, that's how you'll progress and get to that next level. If you can spend $500 of the $600 budget of your photo shoot, then your images are probably going to be a lot better than if you just tried to pocket that $500 in order to, buy a couple bottles of Jameson. Put that money, put that energy back into your photo shoots, and that's how you'll progress. That's how you get a lot better as a photographer, and that's what makes your shoots go from the level you're currently at to go towards the level you want to be at. Now, next up, something that I see often that a lot of people fall into is they buy into contests and these little exposure traps online. Oh, be seen next to all of these fancy photographers, or be broadcasted on our Instagram page to hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, don't worry about any of that. And some random competition in a country that you've never been to that has 43 online viewers that are 42 other photographers that also submitted their photos, like, that's not going to do you any good. The exposure type of photography, the contests, like, don't worry about that, because nobody's actually booking you because of the awards that you have. Like, these aren't Emmy awards. These aren't anything that people recognize. It doesn't matter. It's just these other Instagram people that have, there's like 2 or 3 people that run this Instagram account that are like, if we charge everybody $50 a photo, we can be millionaires, and then make them feel like they're being seen in front of hundreds of thousands of fake views. Don't buy into any of that crap. Like, you won't need it, and it won't actually do anything for you. So don't waste your time on it. Just waste your time on actually taking your photos and submitting them to the art buyers and art directors and the people who are actually interested in your work in your area. Another trap that I definitely fell into, and I'm probably still falling into it, is that you have to work 24/7. And you don't. You really don't. My best photos, the best times in my career, for some reason, always happen after taking time off, or at least taking time to focus on myself, going skateboarding, going on vacation with some friends, whatever it may be. If I can just take some time away from the photography and just do it because I love it, bring my little X100 and take some photos around, walking around, those kinds of exercises in mental health come back around and boost my photography and my business in the long run. Maybe in the right, well, you know what? That's actually not even true, because every time I take time off, I always seem to get like an inquiry that's like, hey, can you come shoot with us right now? And I'm like, I'm not in that part of the world right now. I'm sorry. So, you know what? Maybe if you take time off, you'll potentially land the biggest clients, because they're just gonna want you when you're not there, because that's just how life is sometimes. But no, if you take some time to yourself and you focus on your mental health, you focus on who you are as a person, and then taking those experiences and bringing them into your photography, into your portfolio, that's what progresses your photography. That's what makes you this great photographer that you've always wanted to be, is by having a little bit of this balance. I know it's like, if I want something that other people don't have, I need to do something that other people don't do, right? Like if I want something different, I need to do something different. But that doesn't mean you have to work yourself 24/7 all the time, every day. If you have stuff to do, that's great. But if you're just filling yourself with useless time, you're going to drive yourself mad. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So don't try to take it, don't try to make it to the end of your career by next week. You have a long time in this path. Enjoy the experience, enjoy the fact that you get to shoot, and then also take some time to yourself, because you're self-employed and you get to do this whenever you want to. Take some time. You're fine. You'll get there when you get there. If you keep doing it and you are more, if your mental health is better and you're more happy about what you're doing, you'll be able to do it for much longer. And that's more important than wherever you end up in the long run. So last ones, I've got a few like rapid fire style advice tips that I saw that I wanted to just knock right out of the park before we end this. Primes are sharper than zooms. No, they're not. This isn't the 70s anymore. Back 50 years ago when everything was handmade and there wasn't as much quality control, there was a lot more, it was a lot more complex to create a zoom, and usually you had less elements in a prime and they made them a little bit sharper. However, nowadays, that's just not the case. Buy whatever it is that you need for your photo shoot. Next, you need a full frame camera to be pro. Again, totally not true. I know a photographer in Vancouver who shoots with X series Fujifilm cameras and shoots much bigger campaigns than I do. So nope, you're totally fine shooting on your crop body. Also, if you're like a birding photographer or you want to do wildlife and you want that extra range, a lot of people shoot with a crop body because your 400 just became a 600, you know? Beginners should charge less than experienced photographers. No, that is a butthurt experienced photographer who's like, well, I never charged $1,000 yet. You're not allowed to charge $1,000. I've had that feeling in the past. I might have even said that in past videos, to be honest with you. If you can find it, tell me which video that was in. But that's wrong. That's not at all true. I think if you are charging more, or if you see the people around you charging $1,000, that means people are willing to pay $1,000. So charge 11, and then they'll see everyone charging 11, then someone's going to charge 12, and then we're all going to keep upping this entire career as photographers. We can all end up making a lot more money. It's not about undercutting people. It's about, oh, if they're willing to spend that much, okay, well, they'll be willing to spend a little bit more. Next up, we've got, you need to live in New York City to be a pro or any other major city. Again, just not the case. There's 300,000 people here in Victoria, and I am doing better than I ever was when I lived in Montreal, near Toronto, and all of the above. So you can do it from whatever small market you're in. You just need that drive. You need a little bit more oomph in your photography. You need to just not take no for an answer. And if you do get a no, that's just an opportunity for something else to come around. That's all it is to it. Enjoy the process, and that's how you enjoy being a photographer. Don't worry about the advice that you see online every now and then. Just focus on your own life. Take a little bit of those nuggets that you might see online, but don't take them all as like carved in stone and that's absolutely have to do it that way or else I'm not going to be successful. You'll find it your own way. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Later.